Okay, I'm just gonna make a video for now. I'm sorry I can't call, but I'm kind of busy and I'm gonna actually head back to Columbia in a little bit. So, and also you can just use this video and look back at it anytime you want to. So that's cool. But basically, I guess what I'll have you do for me is start importing some sprites into it and start sort of um, finding the parameters for each sprite, and I'll explain how you do that in a second. Um, but I think the most important thing is this as a reminder. If you're able to pull, if you're able to get like a fresh repo pulled, from now on, anytime you make a change to the code, if you want it reflected in your game when you run it, you'll have to do pip install period in the source folder every time, and then you can run your normal game using Python main game session. So just as a reminder, this is what the game looks like again. Right, main menu, new game, start a game, and then the new thing that I didn't get to touch over at the meeting yet is the battle screen that I sort of had. Just enter it from the bottom, the red guy, and then this is the battle screen. Nothing works yet. I'm still concepting things, but I guess what I'd like you to do now is just sort of import these sprites in, finding the parameters and doing that for me, and that would be great. If you've done the fresh pull, hopefully make sure that you have the py display test or the battle display test file. To run it, you'll have to make sure that you import pygame.gui, and that means you just have to do pip install pygame GUI. That's it, and you'll have it. Okay, so as far as importing assets go, if you look at our repo, right, you'll notice that in our source we'll have an assets folder, and then we'll have different things. For characters, if you wanted to import maybe the new enemy that you found, that you shared in the group, like earlier today, you can just make a folder for that, just new folder and then name it whatever. And then you put the sprite sheet in it, kind of like how this is right there. For example, I put the player here. I have an idle sprite sheet that looks like this. I also imported a run sprite sheet. And the one you saw in the battle display test was the idle. If I wanted to import the run, this is how you do it. You're in the constructor for the battle display test. You can just go self dot. I can name it hero run. It doesn't really matter what you name it as long as it's consistent. And then you're going to call the asset object, and then parameter, you're just going to feed it the path to the sprite sheet. So you don't have to include the assets part. Just go to characters, player. I think it was run.png. If that was right. Let's see. No, not you. This one maybe. Yeah. Assets, characters, or characters, player, run PNG. Great. So we have self hero run. And now, to actually draw to the screen, underneath the draw screen field or whatever, you can just do self.screen.draw sprite animation quad. So this is pretty similar to like all the other functions that I've written. You're going to give it a sprite, and the sprite you're going to give it is this one, self.hero run, or whatever you've named it. The next parameter is the quad. I'm just going to put it in quad 80 for whatever reason. Number of frames. So I'm going to open Paint. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the run sprite sheet. I'm going to import it in. I'm going to look at this. I'm going to take a look at this. This thing has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Has 8 frames total in the sprite sheet, particularly. So I'm going to say there's 8 frames total. The width and height are the next parameters. So the reason why I opened Paint was because I'm just going to go with the smallest size, make a rectangle starting from 0, 0, and oopsies. I'm just going to try to sort of find the size of a single frame, basically, about as even as I can possibly get it. So a single frame looks like it's going to be 180 by 180 pixels, and if we translate that equally, I think it'll all be the same. So that looks fine to me. So in my code, I'm going to just go 180 by 180 for the width and height. The scale is just the size I want to upscale it to. I'm just going to say 5. Frame delay is sort of like how fast or slow do you want the changes to occur. I'm just going with like 125. If you wanted the thing to go faster, you give it a lower value, and if you want to go slower, I think higher value. I can't remember. I forgot how I wrote it. Just mess with the frame delay if you want to. And then a starting pixel. By default, it'll just be 0, 0. So you can put 0, 0. This is like what pixel of the actual whole PNG file you're starting at. Well, we're starting at 0, 0. So that's what it is. The last parameter you can leave blank. I recommend you just leave it blank for now. Okay, so this is it. This is going to be the hero run, and we can test it. Remember, we got to do pip install. And then we got to do... We can run the game now. Let's go to new game, start the game. Let's go to the battle display test. And there it is. It's in there in quad 80, or whatever quad I put it to. So I guess what I'd like you to do is just use this battle display test. I recommend making a copy in your own so you don't override the work here. Maybe just copy the battle display test stuff. Or maybe make a copy but don't push anything. Just sort of document for me, please. So maybe I would just say like, this would be like hero run, you know, and then you can copy and paste this, or actually, you know what? Yeah, I don't know. I would just recommend you sort of push this somewhere that's, I guess, separate from the battle display test, just so things don't get overwritten anywhere. But yeah, just go ahead and start importing assets for me like this. The quad doesn't really matter because we can always change that, but everything else does matter. So, you know, the number of frames, the height and width for each sprite sheet is really important. So if you do that for me, that would be great. Just take your time on this. Hopefully it isn't too much. And if you need more questions answered, let me know.